Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. This is just a disclaimer before Safi and I talk about this book, because it's really funny. I told you guys, I said every single day for some reason I am seeing these films where people are in danger of losing their houses, and then they save the day and they keep it. And it's like there's magic going on here. And the spell of me losing my house is reversing. Because this book, Slappy Beware, I just had breakfast. That's when I always do these videos. And so whenever I don't know why, but like, as soon as I eat breakfast, I'm really excited to do videos. But anyways, I was excited for this book, kind of, but I wasn't really that excited. And it's funny because in this book, it's the 30th anniversary book of Goosebumps. Well, guess what? My house has been around for 158 years. And so, yeah, it deserves to stay. To say the least. And the book starts off, eerily enough, it starts off with this magician and his nephew. And it's all about how the magician has been doing magic with these dummies, and he makes these dummies that quote unquote come to life and they talk to each other. And so the town wants to burn them out of their own house. And guess what happens? They get there, and he creates this evil dummy Slappy, and with the help of Slappy, they actually destroy all the townspeople, and they don't keep their house, but they do fuck them up, and they do like get revenge, and so it was pretty close. I mean, it was pretty bizarre the way that one after the other now, everything has this story of people in danger of losing their homes. Or actually, I think they might have kept their home, because they could have just put out the fire, or something. But I thought that was very interesting, that this is yet another thing where it has that story, where you have people who are in danger of losing their homes, and then they save it and they keep it by the end, and they kick the people. They get rid of the evil people who want to kick them out. And so you see how weird this is, guys. Like, you see how weird that is. Like, we didn't know about what the story would be ahead of time. Like this, it just so happens that this is what the story is. And see, this is what I mean by when people, when they think, this stuff isn't real, this stuff is just fake. You can't even make this stuff up anymore. I mean, it is that weird. And I am glad about it, because these pieces of shit from Kerwin Purple LLC, you know why it's called Kerwin Purple LLC? It's because the pieces of shit Nutter family, the Nutters from Beaver Creek Township, Ohio, what they did was they took the land all around here and they divided it up into grids that are colored. And our grid, the purple grid, is the only grid of land that hasn't sold yet, basically. And so that's why their company is called Kerwin Purple LLC, is because everything on this land is purple. And so anyways, fuck the Nutters, fuck Kerwin Purple LLC, fuck their shitty-ass development, Bone Hill Village. I hope it burns in hell, and I hope everyone who lives in it burns in hell too. And boy, oh boy, I can tell you, if I had the ability to create Slappy the Dummy, I would. But it reminded me of voodoo dolls, because I was actually thinking about possibly doing some voodoo dolls for this situation. And it's funny because I actually did that when I was younger. When I was in first grade, there was this guy named Cameron, and I did not like him at all. And he did something that really embarrassed me in gym class, where the gym teacher, well, it was really the gym teacher who was shitty. But I hated this Cameron kid, and I hated this other person who sat with us at first grade at our table. And so what I did was, my family and I, we were going to my brother's college in Cincinnati to visit, to possibly, to check it out, to do the thing where you walk around and tour it. And we went to this shop, and I saw this book. It was like a little mini book, and it was how to build voodoo dolls. And it had a voodoo doll on the cover. It was like this green cutout figure, and it had pins that came with it. And it's just like a little book that tells you how to make them and how to do them and everything. And so I actually did that one day. I went into my room and I created this voodoo doll by, sticking the pins into the book. And it's funny because what ended up happening after that is that Cameron stopped being a jackass to me, and he became my friend. And he was my friend after that, pretty much. And, we never really became real best friends. But I thought it was so interesting how that actually worked. I created this voodoo doll because we got that in Cincinnati. So this type of stuff does work. This stuff, it really does good things if you use it correctly. And I think that that's what I'm going to have to do in this situation, unfortunately, because it is a pain in the ass. And that you talk about in this book, Slappy Beware, it opens up with the magician, and he has to spend all night. It was the same thing too. Another eerie resemblance was the fact that, in the same way that I've been working on my first movie ever since January of this year, and in the same way of where now I'm in danger of losing the place to film that movie. I thought, what could be easier than filming a movie in my own house? Oh, well, this piece of shit rich family, quote-unquote rich family, who owns the property, they're going to sell it now and kick us out. That's what. And then we get kicked out on Halloween. That's the quote-unquote deadline, which, by the way, not going to happen. I'm going to make sure of that. So it's just very strange. The same thing happens in this book where the guy, he is working on Slappy. He's been working on Slappy, and he considers it his masterpiece. And then all of a sudden he learns the townspeople are going to come there, and they're going to burn them out, and they're going to, I guess, kill them. And so it's very interesting parallels going on here. And so I don't know how that happened or anything, but it's very, very weird. So anyways, here's going to be the actual review. I need to finish the book, actually. I have 2 hours left. And I don't say that it's a bad thing. It's just that I kind of wish I could put it on a higher speed. I think I might try to do that because I don't know. I kind of have gotten used to listening to these fast-paced books on YouTube that are read by the Google Translate robots. So anyways, here's the actual review.
Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco dishing out on the movies, except today we are reviewing a book.
We're reviewing Goosebumps, Slappy Beware. I guess that's the title. I don't know if it's considered a part of it. It seems like it's like a Slappy World book, so I guess it's a part of the Slappy World series. This book is simply all about first you have another origin, because we've already had multiple origins for his character, but this is yet another origin story where we quote-unquote finally find out how Slappy came to be. And then we see half the book is him terrorizing two girls, I mean, a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
And
Brother
then,
and sister.
and then after that, he goes to another family sometime, and that kid and his family, they're not able to be scared. And so the rest of the book he spends trying to scare them and failing miserably. And then at the end, is he going to die because he can't end up succeeding in scaring the family or not? That's the book. Safi, what'd you think about it?
Well, I have not read all these books about Slappy, so that's the only origin story, except for the one where he's in the dumpster. He's with that guy, that magician or ventriloquist person.
But you didn't read that. You watched the episode.
I just watched that, yeah.
But you watched all the Slappy episodes.
Yes, and so I thought I liked the origin story, except I didn't get how he got what happened at the conclusion of it and how he got from there to the family. And of course, we don't get to see that every time, but
we never get to see it.
Right. Well, and then how he got from the first family, who it was a brother and a sister, and it was very similar to the second Slappy.
You mean the first one?
I don't know. I thought I told you I thought it was the first one too.
Well, it had multiple elements from the various books, like
right.
Both of them did. It was very...
But I guess I've never seen, ever, an episode, because I have to base it mainly on the episodes I've seen. I haven't read a lot of the books. And because back when my other son was reading these books, there weren't these multiple Slappy books. There were a few, but there weren't, like now, there's tons of them.
I know.
Slappy World and all that. They didn't have that back when the Goosebumps books first came out. And so
fortunately,
I liked it, the second part, in that he couldn't do anything, and it was almost comical. It was almost laughable, because I mean, usually he does something and it does screw somebody up, or it screws something up and the kids end up fighting each other, and
then they find out it's Slappy and they fight Slappy.
Right, and that was not the case with the second one. The second one,
no.
The family had a really good sense of humor, and they would just laugh at it themselves and anything else, because, they didn't know the doll was alive. And they just thought they were making mistakes, and they just laughed at themselves. They had a good sense of humor.
I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
But it wasn't well written.
I don't know how well, okay, yeah, I do. And the twist at the end, if you want to call it that.
The twist is that at the beginning, they have this whole origin, and then at the end they undo it, because they're just like, oh, this magician told a lie. He doesn't have to commit evil every day like the magician said. And so he was really under no time limit at all. And that's the twist. And I thought, I think I already figured that out, because if he had to commit evil every day, then he would have been dead a long time ago. Because there's all these periods in between families where he's just sleeping in a dumpster and stuff like that. And it's like, if he's having points like that, then how can he commit any evil in those days? Like, there's like plot holes with that. There's pretty much plot holes with most of the story. And it just felt, to me, it was exactly what I expected, in terms of, unfortunately, Slappy has become all that Goosebumps is about. This is the 30th anniversary celebration of Goosebumps. And what they do to celebrate Goosebumps is celebrate Slappy. And I thought this was a big waste. This was a big shame that they took a chance to celebrate Goosebumps and they just celebrated Slappy.
And that's not good.
I'm sick of Slappy.
there's so much to Goosebumps. There's so many different characters and monsters and werewolves and mummies and like zombies and ghosts and what about them? But I just have to give a few little extra points to the book just for the fact that he couldn't be successful, but then you have that twist, and I didn't know the twist. But the thing is, see, I just don't know what kids think because I don't remember any of mine at the beginning when they were really young, when they read these books. If something was left out, like when if you're an adult and you've read tons of books and you read a little mystery, you can recognize right away probably who the killer is or what, if there's something not right about it, you can see it right away. And I don't know if it's the same with kids or not, because Slappy, in order to find out this twist, he had to put earplugs in his ears, so he couldn't hear his he couldn't hear his father.
Yeah, there's another twist where the magician does the trick that sometimes doesn't work. Yeah. And the thing is that these dummy books, they're very inconsistent, and I immediately recognized that when I went from part 1 to part 2 reading those. I didn't read them as a child. I only watched the episodes. Yeah. And the episodes pretty much made sense. But they had this thing in part 3, I believe, where they read Slappy's spell backwards and it didn't work.
Right.
And so then Rocky had to destroy him, and he got struck by lightning, got killed, got destroyed. And in this, the magician reads the spell backwards, and then, oh, twist! Slappy had earplugs in.
Where did he get the earplugs? Does he just carry earplugs around with him? I mean, this is what I mean. This is something that's, you see that it's wrong, and you think, oh, it's just like we watch a movie, you see something weird, and you say, okay, it's just a movie, who cares? But that's the thing about writing, and R.L. Stine knows better, so, I mean, I even hate to even say that when you write a fiction book, you have to have some reality in it, or of something that isn't an inconsistency, or I don't know, or lacking or failing.
And why did the magician show up at that time?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Is it like a magic spell, like he can see he's way off in Bulgaria or something?
But how is he still alive if that was 200 years ago?
Well, yeah, that's
and
another
he was
thing.
already an old man 200 years ago. I mean, none of it makes sense. Like it's pretty weak. The book is weak and it's boring. I would just call the book boring, like Slappy boring, not Slappy beware, Slappy boring. It feels like R.L. Stine is burned out on Slappy, but he's going to keep on writing Slappy because
they're asking him to. That's what I think. I don't think he's compliant. He wants to make the money. He wants to keep getting seen.
I'm just sick of Slappy.
I would think that for his own happiness that he'd want to write something different.
Like, I haven't even read all the Slappy books. I've only read Night of the Living Dummy 1, 2, and then this. And I'm sick of Slappy. Just imagine, like, if you read all of the Slappy books, like Happy Birthday, Slappy, Slappy's Nightmare, Night of the Living Dummy 3, Bride of the Living Dummy. Like, people used to complain about the Monster Blood books, like, oh no, why is there 4 Monster Blood books? Wah! But, like, just think about, like, Slappy's got, like, 4,000 books. And
he has more than any of them.
It's like
any of them.
3,995 that he doesn't deserve, honestly. Like, he should just have, like, a handful or so. Like, he shouldn't just be... It just feels like a real shame that, like, for the 30th anniversary of Goosebumps, it had to become all about Slappy, to the point of where on the cover it's just Slappy's face.
Well, I think they should have a movie or a book or something where all the characters get mad about Slappy and they all try to get him.
Yeah, well, I was
think that'd be fun.
And that would be cool. I was gonna say too that, thinking about all the things you could have done for a 30th anniversary Goosebumps book, like thinking about you could have had a crossover. What if you had, I don't know, the mud monsters from You Can't Scare Me? What if you had the mud monsters meet the zombies from Welcome to Dead House and they had like a war against each other or something? Or like, what if you did this? What if you did that? What if you did Monster Blood where they're all grown up and they're married and have children, and then Monster Blood comes back? Like, you could have done so many things. I would say probably what I would have wanted is a Curly the Skeleton book, because honestly, Curly the Skeleton is the true mascot of Goosebumps. Slappy is not the Goosebumps mascot. Curly the Skeleton is. And I much prefer Curly. Curly is cooler. And Curly, he doesn't even have a story. And so you could have made up like a whole new story for Curly the Skeleton, and it would have been so cool. Goosebumps 30th anniversary. You finally get to find out about Curly the Skeleton. No, you have to read another book about Slappy. Right, Safi?
Yeah, the only other book I'd like to see about Slappy is if all the other characters got mad at him because he gets all the attention.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And so then you would actually get to see some of the other characters.
Yeah.
And it might be a bigger book. It might be a series, like 3 or something, a 3-part series.
Yeah, they could do like a New Nightmare, Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, and they could have it be like a meta thing where R.L. Stine is in it, and R.L. Stine is like, I'm just writing Slappy book, and then all the other monsters get pissed off and they're living with him, and then they start going after Slappy. Like, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Something like that.
Well, that would be, you have the best of both worlds. You have a different Slappy book, but it wouldn't just be about him. It would be about some of the other characters, too. And you could have ones that played major parts, and then you could have others that were like a cameo or something. So you could say, oh, yeah, there's, that character.
And not make it like in the shitty movie where, like, they did all the stuff they did in the movie where, like, oh, look, it's just the characters in the background. Like, oh, look, there's the Scarecrow. There's the haunted mask over there. Like, actually have it with a purpose and, just anything. Like, anything. Because I don't even like Slappy anymore. Like, Slappy's not even the same character. He's like a flamboyant gay. Like, he's like a egomaniac, like a vanity person. Like, he's like, I want to adore myself all the time. I want a mirror so I can stare at my own face. And it's like, this is really weird. This is not how Slappy ever was in the older books. Like, he might have wanted people to be his slaves because for some unknown reason. But he was never like this flamboyant, like, personality where he's like, I love myself. Like, he was never like that.
No, well, the one where the bride of the living dummy.
Really?
I thought he was.
No.
Because he,
and that
was her. I don't know. I have to think for a moment.
And that one, he wanted to marry the little girl.
Yeah, that's right. He wanted to marry the little girl. He didn't care about the dummy.
Yeah. And then
that was actually funny.
Yeah,
that was funny. And that's another thing too that I like. I don't know if he has enough of that. I haven't read a lot of the books. Marco has been the one who's read a lot of the books, but I like it when there's some humor in there and it's just ridiculous. But
not like in these. Like, these are so childish. They've gotten so kiddish. They've gotten so toned down to the point of where
it's like a whisper.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like if you're a little kid and your parents give you like a video game and it's like just a stupid learning game and it's like, look, this is the Frog Fun Friend Guide to Addition and Subtraction. Oh wow, this is so much fun. This is not what I had in mind when I asked for a video game for Christmas. I wanted Resident Evil, and I got like a learning game. Like, that's what this is like for like every single new book, and it's frustrating because it feels like it's not really R.L. Stine. It's like the company that they're like, okay, you have to tone things down. We have to adjust to the modern audience.
I don't know what we're adjusting to.
I don't either.
To me, I think it's just
because
I think he's tired of writing them. I think that the company wants him to because they think it sells the most books. Well, if he had a really good story about the other characters or a new character and it was really good, I think people would latch on to it. Because he already has an established name. And so he doesn't have to worry about that. People are going to take a look.
Well, he wrote these things recently called, like, the Spine Tinglers or something. And people got so excited for that. And I was like, what's this crap? Like, I don't know what this is. The covers look terrible. But people got so excited for it. And it didn't have anything to do with Slappy. So I really think that the company underestimates its audience. And I think that...
And they shouldn't, because he has a name. It's a recognizable name. I've gone through 2 boys with his name. And so, I mean, that's a span of 2 to 3 decades.
You're spanning time.
And
you span time, Safi.
I mean, just think about Harry
Potter. Spanning
Potter.
time.
That was only for a certain period, and now they have this other thing. I haven't watched one of them yet.
Nobody wants to watch that crap.
But that was like a certain time, and everybody latched on to it. It was really great. But this is gone, and people like to read scary stories. People love Halloween. You know, as a reseller, you can hardly even find anything to sell for Halloween because it just gets snapped up in 2 seconds. So everybody loves it. They love to dress up. They love to have parties. They love to decorate. They love to make really interesting, like, snacks and cookies and that have to do with Halloween, and people love decorating. There's a whole decorating site on Facebook, and it's not just people in the United States; it's people from all over the world.
So anyways,
he's all set to do something different, and I wish they would let him. Or maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't want to write anything else. But I can't imagine that.
This book, though, it just felt like you could feel it through the book. He's burned out. He's tired of it. He's like given up. Like, there's no continuity anymore. It's just all the same old happening. Like, the origin was kind of cool. I kind of liked that a little bit.
The origin.
That part was the best part of the whole book, which Safi also agrees.
Yeah, I think the ending would have been good, but it seemed like a letdown.
The ending was abrupt and anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was abrupt.
And then most of the book, like Safi, they spent like 60% of the book with this first crappy, dumbass story.
And that was just like other Slappy books.
Reggie and Poppy! And it's all about, like, oh, of course, they're siblings. Slappy causes trouble. The siblings blame it on each other. The parents get mad. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's the same old crap. And, like, there's nothing interesting or new or different, and it's like, this is not what I wanted in a 30th anniversary Goosebumps book. And then, I did kind of like, I guess, how R.L. Stine, he narrated some of it. He would do the story breaks.
Right.
And instead of Slappy. And I thought that was nice. That was at least a little good thing they did. And then the first story ends, like, it's just so boring, and it's like almost 2 hours of that crap.
I think I almost fell asleep, and that's why I didn't know.
Well, yeah, it was hard.
Was that the one in the store?
Yeah, it was so boring.
I didn't even know. And then how we got to the second family.
Oh yeah, the father takes Slappy back. The only thing I guess was cool was that he thought that he had bought Mr. Wood for the daughter and son, and it turned out Slappy was in the box the whole time. So that was like a fake out that, like, oh, I'm getting Mr. Wood. Oh, of course Mr. Wood's going to be in this? No, of course not. It's Slappy, because it's all about Slappy. Like, you could actually make, like, a book, too, where maybe Slappy has taken R.L. Stine's slave. Like, you remember in The Night of the Living Dummy 3, where he has the dummy of himself, and then he has the strings that come out of his hands? Like, they could do a whole story where it's just him being enslaved by Slappy to write Goosebumps books all about him. And it could be like a meta-commentary on the terrible publishing company forcing him to write these trash books that don't have any interesting stories or any stakes anymore. Because I didn't care about any of these characters at all. But he's in the store, and he actually reveals himself to the father. He doesn't flash them. That's not what I mean. He reveals himself to be alive to the father and the store worker. And
right.
It was very public, and then he brings all the Mr. Wood dolls to life. It's very weird.
And so it was kind of chaos then at the end, right?
And then it cuts off.
Yeah, okay, that's right. So that's why I'm just like, I thought, well, maybe I fell asleep, because I really was bored.
It reminds me very much of the old episodes and books where at the end, the characters would end up in deep shit, and then they cut off, and you wouldn't find out what would happen. And I always theorized that he killed them, because, like, they had the thing in Bride of the Living Dummy, where he had all the dummy's body parts hanging around in this workshop, like he had chopped them up into pieces. And they said these are all of Slappy's rivals. And so to me, that would imply he killed all the dummies, besides himself, and then he killed all the families too. And so it's like, oh, we can't show that. Then we get to the second story, which Safi liked, kinda.
Well, I liked it because it was different. That it was funny. For instance,
it was a little funny. It was kind of funny.
Well, it wasn't. It was for a kid.
Yeah, it was.
That's all that.
Very kiddish.
But like, for instance, they were going to take a boat out and go fishing, so they go to the boat, and they forgot the sandwiches, which Slappy had also put their bait on instead of the sandwich material. So, but they forgot them. So that was one thing. And then, so when they went to get more food to eat, he sees the boat, and he gets the drill, which magically appears, which I don't know anybody who carries around a drill unless they're a van lifer and they have to have something like that in their van. But I mean, any regular person who just drives a car doesn't carry a drill around.
Or unless they're the driller killer. Remember that movie, Safi? Oh, wait, you haven't seen that.
No.
But it's a movie where a guy, he kills people with a drill, and he just has all these drills that he carries around all the time. And, like, that's the only person who would do that.
Right. But anyway, he drills holes into their boat. You know, it's like a small boat, like a John boat or a rowboat or something. It's just a small thing to go fishing. And then they come back. They have new sandwiches. They never saw the old ones, so they don't know what Slappy did. And since they've been left out on the counter, I guess they'd probably throw them away when they got back home, so they wouldn't ever know what he did.
I don't know. Like, don't you think, like, if you made sandwiches that you just put them back in the refrigerator and you'd eat them at another time? Like,
it's hard to say because we don't.
I don't know.
He doesn't write it, but so he drills holes in the boat, and then when they come back, it's the dad has a surprise. They get to use one of the big boats, a cruiser, and to go out on the lake. They're not using that little John boat or a fishing boat, so that fails. And I mean, it's one failure after another, after another, after another. I've never seen that before.
The thing that was disappointing, I thought it was a great idea. I was very excited for that idea. But it was so lame. Like the thing with like, oh, I really hate animals. I like to eat them and boil them and skin them alive. But then what does he do? He tries to set the dog free.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
He doesn't even try to do anything actually malicious. Like, you could have had something really suspenseful. Because they've had that before in Goosebumps books. Where, like in Welcome to Deadhouse, the dog runs away. And then it turns out, oh, the zombies ate the dog and turned it into a zombie dog at the end.
That's right.
And then you had, like, it came from beneath the sink where the dog disappears and they don't know where it went. And they could have had it where the dog ran away and then maybe he found his way back later. And that would have been funny. But instead, it's just him standing on the lawn telling the dog to go. And the dog just stands there.
Well, I guess he pushed him.
That's it. There were a couple of funny moments. Like, I thought it was funny when he put the spider in the coffee, and then she drank it and swallowed it and ate it, and like, ugh, that was creepy. But it was so funny because she said the coffee was lumpy and it was too weak, and Slappy's just like, he's so disappointed. He doesn't know what to do. But it's sad because the Slappy character, he's just not like himself. So you can't really enjoy that. The most disappointing thing about the second half is that we never get to see him reveal himself to that family.
No, they have no idea.
Yeah, the whole time.
That's different too.
I was really looking forward to like a back and forth where the kid would like terrorize Slappy and that like he would know Slappy's alive and something like that. But no, they're just completely oblivious. Like they don't even care about anything. And
I have a good attitude and they're happy.
I did like that because, I hate these Night of the Living Dummy books the way that the parents are always evil. I mean, the parents,
yeah, that's right.
They're always like really terrible parents and they're so horrible to their children. Not in this one.
No.
Well, except for the first part. And then, of course, at the end, you had this thing with the magician where the magician just suddenly comes back. He says it's all a lie. You don't have to scare anyone if you don't want to. And now I'm going to destroy you. And then he fails.
Because he's wearing earplugs. Where to get the earplugs? How does a dummy know about earplugs anyway?
Then the disappointing part for me, even more, was the fact that after he comes back, he's safe. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to that birthday party now and finally terrorize the main kid. And we don't even get to see what happens. Like, it is just such a WTF. Like, it's basically implied that he'll finally scare that kid at the birthday party. Like, really? Like, that's the end? Oh, because at the end, they wanted to have this really annoying thing where they just said all of quote-unquote Slappy's best lines, which went on for like 10 minutes. And then R.L. Stine, he interviews Slappy, and it was just like, this is...
So anyway, how do we rate the book? How do we do
Letter grids.
Oh, letter grade. I gave it a C. But I don't think it was really bad because, like I said...
It wasn't terrible.
I like the origin story.
It was just boring and dull.
I like the fact that I thought it was funny when he was thwarted in every turn to do something bad. But then the way it ended, where he's wearing earplugs, so he's fine. But it doesn't matter because... well, I guess it did matter, but he never had to do evil, and just all this little surprise stuff at the end that just kind of flips up and flips away. So, I gave it a C. So it's average book. Well, so what about you, Marco?
Well, since it's the 30th anniversary, I have to give it a D+, because it was disappointing, and it felt like this is exactly what I expected from, I don't want to see Slappy for 30th anniversary. Oh, here we go. I have to watch 30th anniversary Slappy. It just, everything is about Slappy.
They could have made it about a different character or a different couple of characters, and then Slappy turns up in the end and he says, what's going on here? This book is supposed to be about me, not you.
I'm just sick of Slappy. I'm so sick of him.
They wanted to have him in there. So that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
Oh, you're not going to say what people should do?
Would you like to subscribe to our channel and share in the commentary? We would really welcome you to join, and we'd like to hear what you have to say, and are you going to read this book, and what do you think about it? And then also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We appreciate that too. And I just wanted to say, we did not buy the book. We listened to it on my library Hoopla site. So I just thought I'd give a plug in for that, because I read 99% of all my books on Hoopla.
It's just easier to listen to books. Like, I don't like to physically read books very much at all.
Well, I do, but I just can't. You can't do anything else. That's the thing. If you listen to it, you can do the dishes.
I gave it a 2 out of 5 on Hoopla.
Oh, did you? I hardly ever read. I probably should, because I read so much. I've read like...
That's what it's there for, Safi. You know, like how when people try to take away your home, you're not supposed to just let them do that. You're supposed to say, fuck you. And
well,
it's the same thing for, like, rating a book. Like, all it is like a rating. It doesn't cost anything to do that.
You know, but it's a very... If you have the opportunity to do that, I mean, it's like checking a... I don't know how they get credit or anything, but it's like checking a book out from the library. And you get it for so long, like 3 weeks. And I'm usually done with it within a week. It just depends. And you can sit and do other things. So I do other things, chores, anything. I just put my earphones in and turn it on. That's it.